In Utah's dead silent desert, people enjoy adventure rides every weekend. But in March 2025, some bikers discovered a sealed metal room buried underground. Inside, 300+ ID cards, small school uniforms, and on one wall, 50 photos of missing children. Under each photo, only these words were written: "We were experiments." When authorities checked digital records, they shockingly discovered that these were the very children who had suddenly disappeared from a local school 15 years ago. And every single file had been manually erased from the system. Police immediately cordoned off the area. The FBI was called, and the local media was only told a classified investigation is ongoing. But the first video the bikers recorded had already gone viral on social media. Millions of views. And every comment asked the same question: where did these children go? This missing children case was originally reported in 2010 from a school near Salt Lake City, St. Helena Elementary. On a single day, 52 students and 3 teachers vanished. No footprints, no CCTV footage. Just empty classrooms and half-eaten lunch trays. Parents assumed a mass kidnapping had occurred. But within 48 hours, the police closed the investigation, citing the reason: mass runaway attempt, presumed dead. Death certificates were issued without recovering the bodies. Parents were forced to sign NDAs and sent into silence. No one knew exactly who closed the investigation. The only record showed that the last approval on the case file was signed by a high-level officer of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, who retired suddenly 3 days later. For 15 years, no clues surfaced. No witnesses, no ransom, no suspects. Media gradually stopped covering the case, and families locked up their missing children's rooms and moved on. When the bikers' footage went viral, a retired journalist, Evelyn Brooks, publicly stated, "I was covering this case back in 2010, and at that time, the FBI forcibly removed me." She revealed her old notes, which mentioned that beneath the school, there was an abandoned fallout shelter that had suddenly been sealed in 2009, and its blueprint had been erased from county records. When the investigation began excavating the shelter area, they found additional items: a blood-stained teddy bear, a half-burnt journal, and a plastic badge that read, "Bio Unit, property of DARPA." The FBI immediately confiscated this badge and halted the excavation, telling the media it was a toxic contamination site. Evelyn secretly contacted the bikers and made a copy of their raw footage. In one frame of that footage, it clearly read, "Test Group C status, failed." In one corner of the room, a steel tray held surgical tools, and a dried blood sample contained small human teeth. Evelyn searched the county archives, but St. Helena Elementary's building permits, blueprints, and even student enrollment lists had all been wiped, as if the school had never existed. She went directly to the addresses of the school's former staff. The 3 teachers who had disappeared had abandoned homes for 15 years, and their bank records had been frozen after 2010, as if someone had legally deleted their identities. From an old CCTV server at a nearby gas station, Evelyn recovered a single frame. March 2010, 3:17 a.m., showing a black military-style truck parked behind the school, with no markings on its side. The same truck appeared from another angle, near the entrance to the school's underground fallout shelter. After reviewing this footage, Evelyn concluded, the children were not kidnapped. They were deliberately taken inside the shelter, and then their names, files, records, manually erased from the system. The public was only shown missing children, but the operation behind their disappearance had never been admitted by any agency. Evelyn traced the shelter's exact coordinates using the bikers' GPS data. But when she returned to the site, the entire area was covered with fresh asphalt, as if someone had permanently sealed something underground. She tried to get an excavation permit from the county, but the application was rejected, citing a national security concern, and her IP was blocked from federal servers. Evelyn began searching for old school yearbooks. There were no online lists of St. Helena Elementary students, but in the basement of a local library, she found a torn 2009 copy, which only had first names. Last names were manually cut out. Under every missing class photo, the same name was repeated: Group C. The same name appeared on a clipboard in the shelter footage. Test Group C status failed. Evelyn arranged a secret meeting with a missing student's parent, Linda Carter, whose 7-year-old daughter had vanished at the time. Linda said that the day before her daughter disappeared, some unknown medical visitors came to the school in white hazmat suits. They took blood samples from every student and told parents it was just a routine health survey. The next day, 52 children and 3 teachers suddenly vanished, and the school was permanently closed. Linda gave Evelyn something she had secretly taken from her daughter's locker: a laminated card with an embedded microchip, with a barcode beneath it reading Biosubject ID C27. Evelyn sent the chip to a tech expert, who discovered that the chip contained encrypted logs, trying to connect to an unknown secure server, still active, whose domain owner is a retired DARPA scientist, Dr. Harris Cole. Dr. Cole had disappeared in 2011, and the government declared him missing, presumed dead. But monthly payments were still being made to his name from a federal account in Washington, D.C. Evelyn attempted to manually decrypt the chip's logs and recovered a fragment. Cognitive resistance trials age 5 to 10 results unstable. This line confirmed. This was no medical survey. These were mind control experiments on children. She traced the license plates of the black military trucks seen in the gas station's CCTV. One plate matched an abandoned military research site in Nevada, Raven Rock West facility. The facility had been officially closed in 2012, but satellite imagery showed trucks entering and exiting every month, and new paint-coated radiation warning signs surrounded the area. Evelyn rented a motel room near the facility under a fake identity and observed it secretly for 3 nights. Every night, exactly at 2 a.m., a convoy would enter. No truck ever came back. On the 4th night, she launched a drone, which detected a hidden elevator shaft at the back of the facility, going deep into the desert. And the gate had the same symbol engraved as on the C-27 chip. The drone captured a few seconds of footage. Then the signal was suddenly jammed, and the drone crashed midair, as if disabled by an EMP blast. Evelyn was now certain the Group C children had been taken to this facility, and the entire operation was still secretly active. Even though the site had been officially declared abandoned, she decided the next step was to infiltrate Raven Rock West facility and recover the actual experiment records. Evelyn created a fake janitorial contractor ID and applied for a maintenance tender at Raven Rock West facility. Approval came within just 2 hours, as if her arrival was expected. On the day of entry, her badge was scanned. She descended 12 floors via elevator. Each floor had motion sensors, retinal scans, and silent corridors, still fully active despite being officially abandoned for decades. Reaching the bottom, what she saw was straight out of a horror movie. A giant underground lab, walls covered with children's growth charts, glass cells containing small hospital beds. Each bed had a metal plate reading Subject C01, C02, C03. She sneaked to the control room and began copying old hard drives. The files were titled Neurocognitive Resistance Program. Each file was linked to a child profile, and each profile read: Initial IQ, 112, resistance threshold, 7%, status, terminated. One folder contained video recordings. Small children locked in sensory deprivation chambers. Metal crowns on their heads recording brain signals, while they were kept in darkness and silence for weeks. Another file read: Objective, erase fear, empathy, and pain response from the human mind. For future autonomous soldier units. Evelyn's hands shook. This was not mind control. This was a project to turn children into emotionless soldiers. When their brains broke down, they were marked failed and eliminated. In a hidden storage room, she saw the uniforms of the 52 students, stained with dried blood, and a freezer containing labeled organ jars. Each jar marked with the children's subject codes. Then an alarm triggered. Facility lights turned red, and a loudspeaker announced, Security breach level Omega. Evelyn grabbed the hard drives and chip and fled through an emergency duct. Corridors went into lockdown, and the last frame of the exit drone footage showed her disappearing into the night in the middle of the desert. 3 days later, the FBI announced that Raven Rock West facility had been destroyed in a fire accident, and all evidence was officially declared lost. But 2 weeks later, a 4 terabytes data dump was suddenly uploaded to an anonymous cloud server, containing all video logs, brain maps, and signed approvals for Group C experiments, with federal officials' names on them. The last page of the files had only one line: This is what they did to our children. Evelyn has been missing since that day, and her name no longer exists in any government database. As if she had never existed. Only a USB was sent worldwide to journalists, containing her final voice note. They didn't erase the children. They rewrote them.